I've mentioned before that last year was quite the year, and in that I learned a lot because you learn the most in the years that are the most difficult, right? Right. Not that it was the most difficult year, but it was a very difficult year in my personal humble opinion. And because of that, I learned a lot, and there's a lot of things that are changing going into 2023. So in this video, we're gonna talk about some life lessons that I learned the hard way so that you don't have to, because I can tell you about them and then you can just do them and skip the messy part where you make the mistake. Okay? Okay, grab some coffee and let's get to it. My coffee is kind of chilled now because I have not been drinking it, because I'm always like, oh, I'm gonna drink coffee while I make videos, and that never actually happens. Mostly it just sits there, or I just like wave it around while I talk. Okay, let's start. All right, number one, and probably the most important one that I learned, is to let things go. Now there's kind of two different parts of this. Part number one is letting go of the idea of everything having to be perfect, which was really funny to come to terms with because I have never been a perfectionist. I have never been someone who just like feels like everything needs to be perfect all the time, but I have learned that I am kind of a perfectionist with like my habits and my routines, and I want them to be perfect and I want to do them correctly every single day. And I learned that I'm a little bit of a perfectionist when it comes to teaching. When it comes to teaching, I want every lesson to be like magical and amazing and great, and I want everything to go super well, and I will work my butt off teaching because I think the kids deserve it. Now, I still believe all those things. However, I realized not every lesson has to be the most amazing lesson ever in your whole entire life, which means that you don't have to accomplish 87 things in every lesson. You don't have to have every lesson being like super crazy active. You can have lessons where the kids are doing a worksheet. Yeah, it's possible. You can have lessons where the kids are working on centers. You don't have to be the center of everything and like running everything. And the more I have found that, the more I've given more ownership to the kids, the better life has gotten. I also do this with planning my lessons because I want to come up with like all new lessons every single time, but I don't actually have to do that. And now, especially that I have a couple years of TBT under my belt, I have things ready to go. Like I have lesson plans, I have games, I have worksheets, like I have things ready. So just coming to terms with like, I don't have to make everything from scratch every single week has been really revolutionary for me and really helped me to just chill out a little bit, which has been especially helpful this year because my 4th grade has been just such a struggle. And so if I was caught up in everything must be perfect, it would be really difficult because there's a lot of days we don't get through all the things that I plan. And I just have to let it go. Kind of on that same vein, the other thing I have to let go is all the things that I want to do that I can't. This past year, I really came to terms with the fact that there's actually only 24 hours in the day, and I do actually have to sleep at some point. And as frustrating as that is, and y'all, if I had a superpower, it would be to never have to go to sleep or to fly. No, never having to go to sleep. You know how much I could accomplish if I didn't have to sleep? So much, but I do. And so I really came to terms with that in the reality of me planning too much for my day or for my week or for my month, and then getting disappointed and frustrated with myself when I didn't get everything done. But then when I look back and I think about it, I'm like, it's not that I was like lazy. It's not that I wasn't focused. The problem was that I was trying to do too much. Like teachers at my school say all the time, you're doing too much. You do too much. And one of my kids told me that the other day. You do too much. I'm like, you literally do the most, child. Whatever. But I forgot what I was talking about. Oh, I was trying to do too much and I couldn't get it accomplished, and then I would get frustrated. But the problem wasn't that it was me. I wasn't the problem. The problem was the planning and planning too much at a time. And so because of that, I really had to let things go, because I'd get to the end of the month and I'd be like, oh my gosh, here's these 20 things I wanted to do that I didn't get done, and it would stress me out. And it was like, okay, you can kill yourself trying to do it now, Or you can just get over it because it didn't happen and plan it for another month, because things can get pushed back and the world will not end. I also learned that this year. So just really had to let things go. I thought that was something I learned at the end of the year, but then I saw a vlog from March where I said that exact phrase and I was like, oh, that's the whole thing. I might get that on a bracelet. We shall see. Number 2 kind of goes along with that, and that is plan accordingly. If I only have one night this week that I can come home and work on stuff, then I can only plan for one night worth of work. I can't plan to film 18 videos when I only have time to film 2. So just really thinking through, yeah, it's great that there's these things I want to accomplish, but what are things I can actually accomplish in the time that I have, and getting really real with myself in that. One thing I started doing for a while, I'm not doing it at the current moment, but I would make my to-do list in the morning and then I would scratch a couple things out because I always had too much stuff. I would make my to-do list and I'd be like, that's too much, and so I'd scratch some stuff out because I knew I wasn't gonna get to it anyway and it would stress me out if it was still sitting there. So that might help you if you do that. But before you plan out like your day, your week, your month, think, how much time do I actually have to spend today? Yeah, there you go. Next up is kind of on that same vein, because it's mostly on that same vein, and that is not everything has to happen right now. I am a person that has many hobbies, many interests, and wants to do all of the things all of the time. And if that's you, then we are one and the same, and I feel you. And one of the biggest revelations I had was that I don't have to do everything now. Like, one thing I have always wanted to do so badly is I want to write children's books, and I have all these ideas for children's books that I want to write, and I'm so excited about all the things, but again, I don't have that much time. And so just realizing, like, I can write children's books, but maybe put that off until I have more time. Or like my poor sad cello that never gets played because I don't have time to play my cello. And so finally coming to terms with, like, you know, maybe I'll save that, and that can be something I work on over the summer. Maybe that's something I work on when I, you know, maybe if I ever find a new job, I don't know. Or, you know, like those kind of things. Like, just realizing that this right now is not your whole entire life, and there's time for other things later on down the road. Right now I'm in this season of life, but later on I'm going to be in a different season of life, whether that's literal, right now we're in winter, the lighting sucks, or whether that means like figuratively, like this season at, you know, this place with this job with this, you know, situation. So you can do all the things, but you can't do them all right now, and it's okay to push them off for later. The world will not end if you don't get that last product out. I know, because there were lots of products I did not get out, and the world is still turning, so it must have been okay. Next one is strategy is over everything else. I tend to be one of those people who has a plan and then is like, oh, I need to make this video. Oh, I need to make this product. Oh, I need to do this. And then the strategy goes out the window. And more I found that the more strategic I can be in my business and my life, the happier I was. So instead of chasing all the things, I started a Google Doc, and when I think like, oh, I should make this product, I type it into Google Doc. If it's seasonal, I will type it in that season, so I remember next March, oh hey, I wanted to make that product last March, but I didn't get to it, so I can make it this March. And so just having those things, like, just, again, you can still do it later, but just really making sure that you are following your strategy, following your plan, and executing your plan. Because if you keep changing your plan, then your plan won't be able to work. You got to execute the plan in order for the plan to work. So execute the plan that you already have. A couple of these are very different. So the next one is embrace the quiet. One thing I realized that I don't enjoy about teaching is that it is so loud. And I teach elementary music, so it's probably the loudest that you could possibly teach, except like marching band. And that really wears on me after a while. And so what I found was that during the school year, I really miss having those times of quiet. So this year, like this school year, I started implementing some quiet times. So specifically at lunch, I try to take 10 to 15 minutes to eat my lunch, in silence or with some like light jazz music on in the background, but just like embracing the quiet. I don't go eat with other people because I need the calm, I need the quiet. When I get home, I usually don't turn on anything because I don't want that. I want calm and quiet. Saturday mornings have become my like absolute favorite time of the week because I get up, I drink water, it's all quiet because it's just me and the dogs up, because usually my husband sleeps a little bit longer, and then I write my journal, and like it's just so nice. So having that like brain space and that quiet is really helpful. In lieu of that, for when I can't do that, having things that kind of make me feel that same calm is really helpful. So those things have been things like writing, drawing, painting, Sudoku. I love Sudoku. So I've been doing that a little bit more, and just having those like things that you can kind of put into your life that allow for some quiet. Oh, taking a bath, my favorite. I can't always get to those kind of things, but whenever I can, it is very, 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 very appreciated. I think that third cup of coffee is finally kicking in. It's only Tuesday. Next one is rest before you're tired. I tend to be someone who's like, I can probably just keep pushing, like I'm not super tired right now, and so I'll keep going until I just hit a brick wall, and then I like fall over and like literally fall asleep in the middle of doing something. So instead, I am trying to learn to rest before I get tired. This is really important because last year I got very, very close to what people would call burnout at the end of the school year, because I just kept going and going and going and going and going, and there was a lot of stress, and I just kept going, and there was more stress, and I just kept going, and now we have squeakas. And so I realized that even if I don't feel tired right now, I need to go ahead and rest so that I'm not as tired later. So if I rest now when I don't feel exhausted, I will feel less exhausted later on. Nyla, come here. I will feel less exhausted later on. So rest before you're tired, literally rest, figuratively rest. Just really, really think about it. The next one is use what you already have. I tend to be someone who's like, make all the new products, make all the new lessons. And I really, in effort to rest more, to chill out a little bit, to chill more, I have been trying to use what I have. So lesson wise, using things at school that I already have, at home, using things that I already have like in my business. Nyla, like when I am, if I take it too long, then she'll start whining at me, so I don't want to cause a scene, which is why we're just dealing with it. Words, what was I talking about? We gotta go quickly because it's almost time for me to go. Oh, use what you have. So for example, products, make your products into product lines. Spend time marketing your products because you already spent time on that product, so you want to use your time to market those products so they'll actually sell. Update old products because they're already selling and you want to make them even better so that they will sell even more. Those kind of things are kind of like smaller tweaks instead of just making new, and they make a big difference. The next two are a little bit different, and so the next one is to take all the pictures. This is actually a really sad one. I had a friend who had a dog and her dog died, and when her dog died, she posted this thing on Facebook, and she was like, and I remember this so vividly in my mind. She said, take all the pictures and videos as you want. Don't worry about if you're being a crazy dog mom, because one day that's all you're gonna have left. Now I'm gonna start crying. And so if you were not aware, the precursor to Nyla, and one of the reasons that last year was really difficult, is that our other dog, Athena, died. And thankfully, I had been following that advice, and so I have lots and lots of pictures, I have lots and lots of videos of her, and now that's all that I have left is those and the memories. But the pictures and the videos jog your memory, so they're really handy. And so I just am really glad that I took that advice. And we don't have a lot of pictures from like the early days of Tolly and Athena, but since the day we got Nyla, I take pictures like every day of the dogs. I've also taken this to heart with things that are not related to the dogs. Like, you know, it's just my husband and myself, so we don't often take like family pictures. Like, you know, people with kids typically take like, you know, family pictures. But I've been trying to take more pictures of us and just, you know, different events and things that we do, and even just pictures of myself or just things in general. I take pictures of the house and of myself and of my classroom and just all that kind of stuff because, you know, it helps, again, it helps jog your memory, and it's really nice to look back and be like, oh, look at all these places that we've gone and all these things that we've done and all of that. So even though it's not related, in general, I've always been like really weird about like taking too many pictures, which is funny because I have 8,000 pictures on my phone, but most of them are products, and so I feel a little like self-conscious having like tons of photos of myself or of us, but you know what? Doesn't really matter. So I'm just taking all the pictures that I want because I can and not worrying about it. And the last one is also something that I really took to heart after Athena died, and that I'm trying to take her ball is what I'm doing. And that is to seize the day. Carpe diem. If you don't know the story, Athena was our German Shepherd. Athena was 9, maybe older, in perfect health, such a happy dog, so fun, always playing. I mean, literally the day that she died, I was outside brushing her. She started playing with her sister, Tolly, and they were running around the yard, and then she laid down, and literally 30 seconds later, she was gone. It was insane. It was very traumatic. It was also really terrifying. I had so much terror about Tolly and like, you know, is she just gonna up and die? Because that's what Athena, like, it just randomly one day, literally not a single sign, nothing that showed anything. I'm glad that she had a very happy life and she was very healthy. But just, you know, you think that you would have some kind of sign and you would at least kind of know, but I had no idea. So it came as a complete shock. She was totally fine. It was weird. And because of that, now I realize, hey, you don't know what's gonna happen. You really don't. And so whether that's with my dogs, whether that's with people, just really trying to seize the day. No. Nyla has taught me many a thing. One day we'll make a video about that. Okay, take it out. She really doesn't like it when I close the door on her, but she's being obnoxious. Anyway, so just in general, remembering that everything is eventually temporary, and so just really trying to seize the day, enjoy yourself. If I'm working and I'm like, you know what, I kind of want to not work for a little bit, even though I have goals to push for, it's okay to stop and just enjoy your time, enjoy your moment. Freaking go to Disney World as many times as you want because it's fun and it's great and it's magical and it makes me in such a good mood. And, you know, just really trying to seize the day and be like, we're gonna do things that make me happy. That's not the only things we're gonna do because we got goals, but just really trying to realizing that we don't have forever, and so you should do what you can to be happy now. So on that note, those are a couple of things that I have learned. I know those aren't like the super tactical, practical things that I usually talk about. So hopefully this video was still helpful. And hopefully you can take some of my advice and not do all of those things that I have done, like wear myself out to the ground and exhaust myself and work all the time. So cheers to the new year. And I guess it's not really New Year's, almost February. Oh well. Okay, bye.